everything I learned when I was researching turning was surprising. uh, I, I first looked up the roster for the Olympics for 1936, and what surprised me most right at the top was that there was hardly any information about any of the women on the team. And it was a little heartbreaking, especially there were a few of them where it just said on the line, no known whereabouts. And for Ada, I think it said seamstress married to Frank Comiskey, and that was it. So that really launched my mission to bring them to life. We took road trips. Catherine and I took road trips around New Jersey to try to meet any living Olympians who maybe dated back close to the time of Ada's 1936 Olympics. And we met one amazing woman down in Plainfield who could still do the moves. I think she had been to the 1948 Olympics. And we got to talk to Ada's relatives. Her granddaughter had a box of pictures and news clippings. And we talked to a few people who had interviewed her when she was at the assisted living center. So basically that was it. My favorite part of the process is, of course, once it gets on its feet, so to speak, the play is finally alive. And it's so exciting because up until that point, it's just in my head. I don't know if it works. I don't know if it's funny. I've imagined all my characters, but I don't know what they look like. And to just be here watching a rehearsal and hearing the accents and seeing them do the bits, it's just extraordinary. And from an historical standpoint, I think that bringing those particular characters who were really lost to history back alive has a lot of meaning for me as, a mission. I think the hardest part of the process is there's a certain point where you're writing and you don't know what you're doing. It's kind of great and it's kind of horrible because you're just moving forward. You don't know if it's going to work or not, and you're not sure how to make it work. So I think those moments where I didn't know how to make it work better would have been the hardest. And then just living with it for a long time and getting to hear the actors play it. After a while, I began to identify places where I thought it needed fixing. I still didn't know what to do with it yet. That's kind of a nightmare. And then there's, hopefully, there's always a moment where suddenly the light bulb goes off and you figure out how to do it. I guess I do most identify with Ada. She's the bravest one in a lot of ways. She's the loudest one. She's the one who sees the future the best and feels it. So I definitely, this play is written for her, about her, for her, and I feel very close to her because of that. The whole play is a scene, in a way. It takes place in one evening. So I would say that the area that's always most difficult to write is somewhere in the middle, where you need to turn the play in a new direction. That's always the trickiest. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to talk about the last scene, but because that was a difficult scene to write, and I didn't want to describe it. But really, it's when you're really trying to make sure that the action turns and becomes surprising. I try to put as much music into my plays as I can, and this one was perfect because the music of the era, the swing music, is just so, I just love it, and it's so up and active, and so I love writing lyrics. I really love writing musicals, but I don't think I could choose. That would be an awful choice. I think people should come to see Turning to get a slice of history that most people don't know anything about. If you're from New Jersey, it will give you a sense of the whole state and the history of the whole state. The Turners, who immigrated here and brought gymnastics to the country, really began in Newark. And it's a wonderful history. And there's really no other way to find out about these women than to imagine them. After this, I have a production of a musical called Sabina up at Portland Stage in Maine. Because of COVID, I'm not sure exactly what the date for that is, but they're committed to it, so I think we're going to do it. And I'm writing a new play, and that is taking up a lot of time, and I just finished writing a book. So I'm always writing. I would tell aspiring playwrights, first of all, not to give up, and to start something where they want to live. I would say that will be so meaningful to their community, and the interaction between a community they know and love and them is much closer in the hinterlands, wherever they are. Don't necessarily move to a big city right away. And the best part of that is that you get to work all the time. And working all the time is what is going to teach you how to be a playwright. Sending your work out, never hearing it, just hoping that someone will take notice is not going to teach you as much as finding a way to do it in your own backyard and just getting it done. So that would be my advice.